We is back. I know I said 15 to 30 minutes. It was quicker than that. So sorry, y'all. But we're back nonetheless. And of course, we got to finish up our chapter. And the interesting thing that happened in Perfect Acres in. Okay. Oreo got his pajamas on. We're going to send him someplace safe in his covers of the night, honey. And let's get started. Oh, gas. She gasped, throwing her invisible hand to her invisible mouth. She began to giggle. It was so funny not being there and yet being the same as she always had been. After all, she could see the floor for one thing and feel the little stars, the little bits of stars from her cover of night prickling her skin, and hear herself giggling for starters. And yet she was totally invisible. Girl, you better be invisible. I love that for you. I wish I could be invisible. What would you guys do if you were in, like, if you could be invisible? If you could just throw a piece of cloth over you and be invisible? Put it in the comment section. Scott, what would you do if you could be invisible?
Oh, probably not good things.
Oh, I would be shopping. I would be shopping.
Shopping.
Yep, I would be shopping. And I guess I wouldn't be doing good things because I would just, you can't see me, honey. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I would be shopping. I'm not kidding about that part. Anyway, are we going to keep them on? She asked, trying to get used to the sound of her bodiless voice addressing what appeared to be nothing at all. Suddenly, the nothing at all turned into Puck, seeing stuffing his covers back into his pocket. I guess we really don't have to now. Besides, we might lose each other again. Perfecta slipped off her own cover, and after first looking down to make certain that her striped pajamas leg and fuzzy slippers were still there, put it in her pocket. Where are we going this time? To the attic. I was on my way there, Puck said. That's where my Uncle Mai told me I was to go. What are we going to do there? Asked Perfecta. Perfecta asking too many damn questions. Girl, either you down or you not. You said you want to be down, be down. Hoping it might be something just as exciting as getting covers of the night from the sky. But Puck's eyes suddenly clouded. I really don't know. Except that it has something to do with the book. Didn't Uncle Ma tell you? Persisted Perfecta girl. So, clearly no. Okay, just go. Just go. Puck shook his head. He couldn't. He doesn't know himself. At least, not exactly. He only knows the 3 places I must go, and that whatever happens, he can't be there to help. Yeah, because he neglected you. If I settle the problem without him, he says, I wouldn't ever be afraid of them happening again if he's not around. I guess it's pretty complicated. It was complicated indeed. So complicated. Perfecta couldn't even think of questions. Yeah, girl, you didn't think of questions, even though you asked like 70 of them. Anyway, but she wouldn't have asked any more anyway. Puck looked so miserable and uncomfortable. Wait, sorry, y'all. Oh, he uncomfortable, no longer the determined, bold adventurer climbing to the sky. Oh, purr, he busted out. I'm so glad there's a you. And I'm so glad you're here. And Uncle Mai said it would be all right for you to come with me. Okay, Puck said, I'm scared as hell. Puck like, girl, I can't. Okay? I can't do this without you. It's like a bird with one wing. Trying to fly. So Puck did want her there. He had seemed so distant and strange on their trip to the sky. Perfecta couldn't help wondering how he really felt. And now she knew. But even though Uncle Mai had said it was all right for her to be with Puck, wasn't it possible she might add to his problem, whatever they were? What did Puck think about it? Shouldn't she ask? Are you certain I wouldn't spoil anything? See, this right here make me sad because see, you know what where this come from? You know why this little girl don't think nobody want her with them? You know why? Because her parents kept saying they didn't want her.
Mm.
Look at how it manifests. Look at this poor girl. She like, somebody wants me with them. My parents have told me my whole life I was a mistake. It's the truth. Oh no, Puck shook his head so hard this time the curls bobbed on his forehead. Then I'm glad I'm here too, said Perfecta shyly. Puck grinned, returning at once to his jaunty self. Anyway, we do have our covers of the night for emergencies. Emergencies? Perfecta didn't quite like the sound of that, but Puck had already begun to fidget. And before she could ask another question, because I told you your little ass was gonna ask more questions, we knew you were. We saw the 78 first ones you asked. He had shot up the stairs, her skin prickling, but not from the stars. Perfecta followed him. It was not long before she recognized that this was a very extraordinary flight of stairs, lined from floor to ceiling with books of every color and condition. The stairs, remarkably, never did pass a second or third story. They simply curled around and around, up and up. They grew narrower with each step until Perfecta felt almost as if she was climbing up inside a seashell. There was even a hollow sound all around them that kind of made a seashell made by the kind that made a seashell when made by a seashell. Sorry, y'all. Ooh, I can't get this together, honey. Ooh. And I ain't had no wine. Anyway, let's start over. There was even a hollow sound all around them, the kind made by a seashell when it was held against the ear. After a few moments, however, it became clear that what had seemed like a seashell sound was really soft sighs and whispers coming from the books. Girl, this sound like the Hitchhiker's Guide. Remember that door was like, ooh. It's like that. It was as if they were talking to each other across the stairs. But Puck paid no attention to any of this. He just climbed doggedly on, and the steps grew narrower and narrower until there was no more room to climb. But they arrived at a very tiny landing with barely enough space for both of them to stand. In the wall of the landing was a narrow archway containing an equally narrow door. A large iron key jutted out from its center. Puck studied the key for a moment, then slowly and carefully turned it. The door swung open with a sudden whoosh of air. With a warning finger pressed to his lips, he motioned to Perfecta and then stepped through the opening. Perfecta followed him, and a moment later was ready to run, no fly back down the stairs. Girl, see, you should have went back home and got in the bed, girl. That bed in the back of your eyelid sounded real good right now, right? She had known they were climbing to an attic because Puck had said so. Although her own boring shoebox house didn't have one, she had never been in one before. She certainly had her own idea of what an attic ought to be. Nooks and crannies, a tiny window or two. The pleasant smell is not pleasant smelling in an attic, honey, of dry, dusty wood, knobby old chests of drawers, boxes packed with treasures years ago, then tied with shoestrings and forgotten. She could imagine herself opening a box and carefully pulling out somebody's grandmother's old-fashioned dress with its fragile lace collar and tiny pearl beads. Girl, that sounds like Amazon. Or her silver beaded purse, or her doll with china head, real golden hair, and eyes that blinked. Or, wonder of wonders, there might be a phonograph. Okay, girl. The kind with the horn that looked as if it was about to make a speech hidden in the corner. Yes, she had very positive ideas of what an attic ought to be. Girl, it is just a storage unit. An attic ain't nothing but self-storage upstairs in your dusty attic, honey. It's a storage you ain't got to go to outside the house and then got to pay extra for, okay? But okay, girl. But this wasn't it. and the word emergency suddenly became all the more frightening. What she and Puck had stepped into was a cavernous, dim, gloomy corridor. There were no boxes, no chests, no dolls with golden hair, nothing but brooding shadows, eerie little pools of light flickering around dismal wall lamps, and the clumps of cobwebs, long since deserted by their owners, hanging from the ceiling of dusty, blackened shreds like old rags. Girl, this sounds like a haunted house. And then there were the doors. Perfecta had never seen so many of them stretching out in two grim rows, gray and silent, and each one tightly closed. It didn't seem to matter that half the moon of tarnished letters marking each door made them look curiously like the covers of Mother Goose books she had brought in to Uncle My and Puck. There had to be something deep and mysterious and frightening hidden behind those doors. Was this, finally, where the old house kept its sad and lonely, but more largely its angry secrets? Girl, you still own them secrets. Girl, you in a dusty dungeon of an attic, and you over here talking about secrets. Perfecta shivered. It was all so scary, she half whispered and then shivered again, as even the smallest whisper seemed to echo down the empty corridor. Oh, Puck, what are we going to do now? I guess we'll try one of the doors, Puck replied in a voice that sounded no braver than Perfecta felt. And we might as well start with the first one. He reached a hesitant hand towards the doorknob. Y'all see my hand is coming towards the doorknob. But before he could turn it, it started turning on its own. Then, with the ominous creak of its hinges, the door started to open. Oh, Lord Jesus, it's going to be Frankenstein. Oh, Lord, it's going to be a bill. And one terrifying moment later, there, unmistakably, in his rusty black suit and buckled shoes stood Mr. Drooper P. Snoot.
Oh.
Holmes. Perfecta had thought him safely and noisily home asleep. How had he crept so silently into the old house and up into the attic? Was there a secret entrance? And what was he doing there? See, this little heifer still got more questions. At the moment, his nose was so deeply buried in a large black notebook where he was furiously making notes, he didn't see Puck or Perfecta. But that terrible sharp nose could rise at any minute. Puck snatched Perfecta's hand and pulled her against the wall. Quick, he hissed frantically under his breath. Your covers of the night. Put on your covers, girl. You better hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your husband, girl, because Mr. Snoot is here, girl. We don't like him, and he don't like us. Scott, get your covers. Y'all get y'all covers. Put them on. Put them over your head so he don't see y'all. No, he need a CPAP. He been snored all over you. Perfecta hardly needed the warning. Following Puck's lead, she had her piece of sky out of her pajamas pocket and around her shoulders before her heart had skipped another beat. Girl, you better hurry up. Mr. Drooper P. Snoot. Was he the emergency they had to prepare for? Was he the reason for the covers of the night? Puck hadn't said so, but he didn't need to now. It was as clear as it could be. And from what Puck had told her, Uncle My would not be there to help them, no matter what. Girl, y'all have been abandoned, ma'am. I told you call CPS. Told you. Should call CPS because Uncle My didn't abandon the children. Perfecta's invisible heart banged against her invisible chest as she watched Mr. Snoot's long fingers flying over the pages of his notebooks like the legs of a hungry spider in pursuit of a fly caught in its web. Mr. Snoot did not proceed down the corridor. He came instead to a terrifying stop only inches from where Puck and Perfecta stood. She had always thought that Mr. Snoot must have eyes in the back of his head and as well on the sides. But could he actually see right through the covers of the night? Poons! Holmes. She locked her breath in her chest and held it there until she thought she would burst. But Mr. Snoot simply stood there, not looking up, his pen scratching away at his notebook. What y'all think he smelled like? She ain't say he smelled like cologne or nothing. He probably stunk. He ain't brushed his teeth. He was asleep. He ain't brushed his teeth or nothing. Just snoring. No, his mouth dry. They over there just with covers over them, just smelling all that funk, that morning breath. Anyway, then was it an hour or only moments later? Two ladies, I'm one of them ladies, came through the door behind them. Perfecta let her breath in tiny, silent, relieved gas. Let out her breath, I should say. It seemed he had only been waiting for them. They were very small ladies indeed, no more than half Mr. Snoot's size. They were, however, equally sour. Both looked as if they had been doused with vinegar and hung out to dry in a cold wind. Oh, girl, I bet you they had a unibrow. Like Helga. Remember from Hey Arnold? She was just mean. She was like, I hate you, football head. And their eyes, oh, wait. Their lips were pinched, their noses were pinched, and their eyes was pinched. I don't know. My eyes look pinched, Scott.
Look pinched.
I'm pinched. Even their thin gray hair was pinched into tight little buns on the top of their heads. All told, they looked like two mean little peas from the same shriveled pod. Mournful sobs trailed after them from the room they had just left. But the three paid no attention. With grim smiles, the two ladies together reached for the door and slammed it shut. They had no more done this, though, when Mr. Snoot raised his sharp nose from his notebook. What is it, Drooper? Snapped one little old lady. Mr. Snoot's eyes narrowed to suspicious slits. I detect the presence of something. Auntie Glumper. Oh, girl, these names. If my name was Glumper, I guess I would be sour too. I would be pinched. Something, rasped her twin. Something, Auntie Squid, hissed Mr. Snoot through icy, compressed lips. He moved an inch closer to Perfecta. Girl, the funk was really spreading, probably then. She had never been so close to him in her life. She could see his eyes flickering rapidly from side to side. Is he high? He moved another inch closer. Girl, she probably was going to faint from the funk. Now she could actually feel his breath on her cheek. Told you, girl, she about to pass out from the funk, baby. The funk then hit the fan, baby. Her own breathing had stopped completely, but she could hear her invisible heart thumping wildly in her invisible ears. Could he? She shivered and at the same time felt the invisible Puck shiver beside her. Pooms? Pooms? Yes, girl, she got a stutter. Then, unbelievably, Mr. Snoot turned away and sniffed. There doesn't seem to be anything here. It must be my imagination. Puh, imagination, snorted Auntie Glumper, spitting out the word as if she had had a taste of a very nasty medicine. Drooper, please make a note. Imagination. Do something about it. Yes. Still, it's always better to be suspicious about nothing than sorry about something. Glumper? Aunt Squint dug her twin in the ribs with a sharp elbow. Girl, what? So you just supposed to be scared just to be scared? Is that what you saying, ma'am? That's stupid. Your cortisol level's gonna be high as hell. You gonna gray early, girl. There are consequences for that. You may be right, Squint, Auntie Glumper agreed sourly. But we have no time to draw. Come along. They proceeded down the corridor with Mr. Snoot scribbling in his notebook as he murmured to himself. Imagination. Do something about that. But Puck and Perfecta did not let out the breaths they had been holding in their invisible chests until the whole pinched, cheerless party of three paused and finally entered another door. That's in the chapter, y'all. We didn't got us 2 additional characters. I'm one of them. I'm Auntie Glumper. Glumper look like she got a unibrow, don't she? Anyway, from that chapter, what did you guys learn? Put in the comment section. Scott, what did you learn from that chapter?
I guess Mr.
Snoop.
Rupert Snoop thinks he can just walk into anybody's house.
Period. He a space invader. Okay, period. What I learned is this. Even if y'all don't want y'all children, don't tell them that y'all didn't want them. Because look at the complex this little girl got. She don't think nobody want her. Because it started with her parents, though. Started with them parents talking about, girl, we ain't want you. We was trying to live our lives over here. And Mr. Snoop said don't have no kids. And then you came. Like she did something. Like they weren't doing the horizontal mambo. So don't be telling y'all children that, because it gives them trauma and complexes, and then it's gonna take a lot of expensive therapy to undo that. So just don't do it. Period. Did you have anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay, guys. Well, we're gonna conclude this book reading here. Everything is just falling apart. Ooh. Okay, guys. Well, as always, we appreciate you guys coming here and hanging with us, and we hope you guys enjoyed hanging with us. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, check out some other videos, live, shorts, all that good stuff if you like. But with that, we're going to bid you guys adieu. We'll see you guys next week, Friday, for Fairy Tale Fridays. But with that, we're going to bid you guys adieu. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. So from wherever we are, even, standing next to Mr. Snoop with his little funky breath burning the side of our face, to wherever you guys are, peace, love, and happiness. We'll see you guys next week.